I want to talk about the weirdest freaking game that I've ever really played. And no, it's not Death Stranding. And yes, this shitty ass lighting will hopefully be gone soon, so just bear with me and I will hide my face for most of this video, I promise. You see, I, like many of you, played Soulframe for the first time this weekend when they opened up to testing. Let's start off the bat with three big things. First, I don't think that Soulframe is an MMO. It has in the past said that it was, but it feels even less of an MMO than, say, well, Dune Awakening. Okay, honestly, yes, it is less of an MMO than Dune Awakening, at least at this stage, and perhaps in perpetuity. Second, this may very well be the strangest game I've ever played. Hours into the playtest, all I could do was continuously ask myself, what the hell is going on? But third, and despite all of that, I had fun playing this, like a decent amount of fun. Let's revisit the talk of being an MMO first. The game has appeared on tons of anticipated MMO lists, rightly or wrongly. Back in October of 2023, I actually even had it on a list of my own where I was writing up all these most anticipated MMOs. I looked into it a bit more and then I pulled it from that list, but because it was such a huge property, I went ahead and explained why I thought it wouldn't be an MMO, so I kind of pulled it back. And I actually got criticized for not including it on that list. So this is where I need to pause here because I actually had a whole section on Soulframe, the MMO, or at least the game that we thought was going to be an MMO coming from the creators of Warframe. At this point, I don't know that it's actually going to be an MMO. In fact, it's leaning more and more towards RPG. So I think that that's a game that I will save and put over to a potential RPG list unless we get any other updates on it being more of an MMO again. So that is why Soulframe is no longer part of this list. But after jumping in this weekend and finding out that at most I could only play with 2 friends at a time for a total of 3 players in a group, I found myself disappointed. The game felt like it was 90% solo, but I do want to point out that when I did get to play with friends, it was a lot of fun. Like this moment here, trying to get across this bridge into this base where we were just swarmed with enemies, much too high level for us. This little section felt epic. We were working together. It doesn't have the same kind of Warframe has that crazy movement.
Yeah, I mean for now.
Yeah, because Warframe changed 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, but it kind of always had the
Oh shit.
You want to come with me?
Yep.
Oh, that hurts.
I just died. I never really played much Warframe.
Oh,
I'm dead.
shit.
I feel like I'm about to die.
I'm reviving. These are level 11, dude. Are you facing this way? No, okay.
I got all the scrap from here.
Here, let me sneak attack this one.
Good. Oh, I saw level 22 in there.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is where
got it.
this is. I was trying to do this solo. It did not go well. Oh shit! There's so many more.
Just spamming, bro. I'm spamming the arrows. Oh my god.
Alright, you can back off a little bit. There's a heal.
Hang on, this one's almost dead. Oh.
Oh my god.
You're gonna have to.
This one's dead. Heal if you can.
It's still loading.
Holy shit, bro.
Heal.
Not gonna lie, that's kind of cool. My god. That was ridiculous.
Shit. That was crazy.
I just like that I could keep spamming the rain of arrows. My god.
I was rushing back to get heals from the friend of mine that was spec'd as a healer and trying to taunt everything to get it to stay on me and not hit my squishy friend's DPS. Moments like this give me a whole lot of hope that the multiplayer aspects of this game that are driven by distinct class roles like that, like healer, tank, and DPS, at the moment can grow into a more fleshed out and engaging experience. Inviting friends and having them sort of host your own world was a bit clunky to say the least, especially with the expected bugs and issues like some friends that would randomly lose the ability to attack, which kinda sucked ass when those friends were your healer and they could no longer heal or help at all. I guess at this point we should mention that when you die in this game, it's not that big a deal. There doesn't seem to be any loss associated with it. You can choose to fly to your body as a little bird, flying to your body within a set time frame. It does run out, but if you can make it back to your body in time, you will resurrect at your body, which allows you to just kind of resume the fight. Or you may have to resurrect at the actual res stone. So think basically very similar to World of Warcraft, but with even less of a bite to their death penalty. But I do have some more hope for that co-op style MMO light style combat and group play, because in an interview with mmorpg.com from Digital Extremes, they went into a little more detail of their plans. And it seems like they want to get to a point where it is much more seamless than it currently is, where you aren't just joining a friend's game, but your friends are naturally appearing in your game. This goes hand in hand with another interview back in July of last year that had player groups at 4 players and this idea of a soul vision, where you could see other players running around in the world, making it easier to hop into groups with strangers, not just your predetermined friends. And that makes sense as a worthy goal, because while I was playing this game, I felt lonely, like really incredibly lonely. The lack of other players around made this feel so much more like an RPG than an MMO that I even considered putting this review on the RPG channel instead. But it doesn't seem like it fits there either, because it doesn't feel like an RPG. It is far too grindy for it to feel like an RPG. It feels too much like it is built with this whole idea of a live service game and this continuous update platform instead of your standard RPG. And like I was saying, when I did get to jump in and play with those friends, I had a lot more fun playing this game, running through some of the dungeons together, than I did doing it solo. But boy, is this game weird. It's kind of like a fever dream with a very specific obsession with poetry and infants. And no, I'm not talking about how you create your characters by essentially creating your pregnant mom. But that was also kind of weird. But also this dude who just so happens to have this weird baby companion that looks like something from Death Stranding, even whispering little creepy jokes that you don't actually get to hear, but he hears.
You know what would be really funny? If we made this game so incredibly grindy, we could sell a bunch of microtransactions.
I apologize for that voice.
Enough! All this whispering. I cannot focus on my book. A welcome respite.
Speaking of grindy, that was the overwhelming feeling I got. This game will be a huge grind, specifically to make gear, which requires so many different resources. And I'm sad to say that that seems to be the way that you get gear. You don't actually get gear from slaughtering the Dr. Blights of the world as you go on your little Captain Planet missions to save the world from their mechanical taint. No, you get crafting materials, and you take those materials to this blacksmith ancestor of yours you unlock wearing what is certainly not an OSHA approved outfit for dealing with bright hot embers and hammering molten metal. And this, I think, is one of the biggest shames beyond the co-op woes for the game, because the absolute most fun I had in this game was running around, exploring, and engaging in very fun, responsive action combat system that utilizes dodging, parrying, power attacks, and fast attacks, and even allows you to engage in stealth attacks and finishers as a tank. The current packed abilities for the tanky sword wielder are pretty underwhelming, I won't lie. They feel like basically buffs, like you're adding buffs to yourselves, as well as a taunt and the ability to briefly stun your enemies. But other classes getting to hail down arrows or sending out a flock of angry birds is just kind of awesome. The birds especially, they were creepy and cool at the same time. I'll be quite honest, I was hooked to the combat the moment I ducked a projectile from an enemy and then came around to slaughter the offender with my sword. As much as I was enjoying all the combat and as frustrated I was getting that I wasn't getting gear, it's not to say that this game doesn't give you lots of rewards, because it does. It has tons of little dopamine hits. As you go through the world, you're constantly unlocking things like locations, uncovering more of the map by pulling these wicked tridents out of the world trees, freeing woodland critters from cages, doing a whole lot of murdering, and of course upgrading your skill trees that you're gaining as you do things. You're leveling up by leveling up your weapon as you use it, leveling up your class as you go through, or when I say class, I guess it means packed in this instance because they're called packs. These skill trees are not just for your class, but they're also for your weapon that has passives like increasing your health or your parry windows. Combat and visuals stood out here for me as the most awesome highlights, followed closely by a fun bit of voice acting.
Big legs, a little help. It's it. Oh. By Sans Dios. We waited to get that out for days. Oh. You here looking for that monstered up stag, I bet? Oh, nothing really. Just how it lives in a secrecy glade hidden by ancient magics, and how to find said secrecy glade and disenchant said ancient magic. Few drakes and I'm an open scroll.
This dude is now my new favorite thing, and I will protect him at all costs. But the game also makes some head-scratching decisions, like having to tab into this alternate plane which acts as a really wet home base. Not unlike my current home, which is why I'm here. It's wet. And it's not your super little moist home that is the problem here. It's the fact that it's so mundane, so ho-hum with what you have to do there. Like, quite literally, changing your equipment or leveling up. Other things like crafting make sense, and they have this cute little message board system which works like a more Souls-like approach of bulletins rather than a chat system. Which, did I mention that yes, there is a world chat with everybody playing that you can engage with at any time if you so choose. I quickly turned it off. This to me feels a bit like a lost opportunity because, one, why do you need to have all these different loadouts and equipment things just to go engage with the world? And two, they could have made this into a more social hub if they were going to have things like crafting and all that stuff instead of making it so isolated. Soulframe so far looks like it's just about what one might expect from Digital Extremes, a pseudo MMO light co-op game that promises to be very grindy with fantastic combat and visuals, a weird as hell story, and one that seems tailor-made for fans of Warframe who wanted to delve into a bit more of a grounded fantasy affair, even if there are still giant ships descending from the sky. Plus, you know, the animals that you save are cute as hell, except when the rat bites you. That was rude. While we wait for more news and developments on this game, you can check out some of the more recent MMO news in this video right here. including RuneScape's new approach to microtransactions, as well as a distinctly more MMO looking game that's on the horizon, made by legendary Ghostcrawler, that's actually finally showing off just a little bit of gameplay. And yes, that is 100% a Wrath Paladin, and I will not hear anything else otherwise.